Hello, everybody. Thanks again for being with us for this next session. We are here with Pedro Vicente, improver and software craftsman at Mindera, one of our exhibitor companies today. Hi, Pedro. Hola. How are you?
Hello. Very good. What about you? Also
Thank
good?
you. All good. Thank you. So, first of all, again, don't forget to visit Mindera, and they're exhibiting today, and all the HR recruiting related questions you can ask directly at their booth. So we have Pedro here today, and as a short introduction, I would like to say that Pedro has a deep interest in software development with a focus on architecture, and he likes building happy teams, talking to customers, and providing them with the best solution for their needs while delivering good code. And he values a strong company culture, which he nurtures while working at Mindera. So, Pedro, it's your turn now. Please tell us why you use technology to build projects that you are proud of with people you love. The stage is yours.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Rita, for the introduction. I'm going to tell you, instead of speaking a lot about Mindera and showing you fancy slides and so on, and saying that Mindera is the best company in the world and so on, because all are, right. I came here to tell you a story of how I joined Mindera and why. Okay. So more or less 6 years ago, I had passed a couple of different companies, software companies. Some of them really small with 3 to 4 people, some with hundreds of people, and I was focusing on mobile development and really focused on getting evolving more. And I was already assigned a senior title and so on, but I wanted to learn more, develop more, and so on. And at a certain point in time, um, I was someone that had worked with me before, that was at Mindera, kind of bring me to go and get to know a little bit more about me there. So they spoke about how they used self management, had no managers, had no limited in holidays, were doing both services and products, only using best practices, were human first, and so on. Like, it seemed like an utopia, and I was very very distrusty, not them distrusty, but kind of, yeah, you all say that, and so on. So I decided, okay, let's give it a chance, and I went there and actually ended up having lunch with them and grabbing a pizza, and kind of doing what ended up being like a quick interview, of them asking me kind of what I was doing, some architectural questions and challenges and so on. It was fun, they kind of got my attention. And from there, I moved into what I call the cultural interview, where they asked me stuff like if I could cook, um, if I travel, and so on, which kind of left me wondering what was that about. Okay, and after speaking with a lot of people that worked there, and hearing about the buzz that was going around about me there, I ended up very curious. So it seemed like kind of a communist or anarchist style of company, where we had no managers. We didn't know where were the borders of what we can do. They were very tech focused. The people that I got to know there were very, very good tech wise. So I really wanted to jump in and let's see where the wagon ends up, right? So I joined. Okay, so I joined the team, and I was very curious to see how that panned out. So the first thing that when I joined the company was, what are the limits? What can I do? So there are no managers. So how do we work? So we work in normally in Scrum teams, small teams, very aligned. Um, I work mostly with clients, not in products. So I was doing some work for some clients in a very nice tech stack at that point in time. It was like the state of the art on Android, which I was developing, CI/CD, Unity, and UI automated tests, the continuous delivery. So I was, well, this is good, but what are actually the borders of what I can do? Um, what about the holidays? Do I need to ask someone to book them? What do we mean by no managers? Is there no hierarchy about this? How do we decide? So if I want to change a table on my on where I work on my room, can I do that? So I ended up joining a few weeks before the snow trip that Mindera in Portugal had established every year, at least before COVID. Let's hope that we'll get back to that as soon as this passes. Um, so I went into the snow trip, in one of the lunches, I sat down by one of the founders. By the way, we had 5 founders, um, and friends that founded Mindera around a pizza box. So I asked her what what are the borders, what can I do and what can I cannot not do. And her explanation was kind of simple but mind-blowing at the same time. She said, okay, you can do whatever you feel like if you can take responsibility for it. So you can change your table, you can change your code, you can do those things. You can't hire someone without someone else approving because you don't sign it. Those are the company um, owners that need to sign that, and the civil responsibilities from them. So that's how you know what you can and can't do. There's no written rules, and we don't want them. Written rules are useless here. And kind of that blew my mind. Like, okay, this is strange. There's no processes. There are no, yeah, the processes speak with people, learn who can kind of help you do this stuff and do it. And that was at the point in time where we were reaching 100 people. So this is not a very small startup, right? And as we went along, and we're reaching 800 now, I heard a lot of people saying, "Okay, this works because you're small. 100 is still manageable. You don't need managers. Okay, you're 200. Okay, but yeah, but you're divided into teams, and you have no limited holidays, but you kind of have someone overviewing them." And you're like, "No, we just tell people to speak with one another, and kind of each team is responsible for acknowledging if the number of holidays makes sense, if they're not going to endanger the project. And if I go on holidays, I know that the rest of the team will need to kind of cope with the work. So I need to be careful about that. And one thing that also blew a lot of people's minds is we have no evaluation, okay, and we still don't. So there's a lot of questions that pop up when I also say that. So they're like, no evaluation, but how is that fair? So we think feedback is more appropriate. It's not just naming conventions that we're speaking about. Right? Feedback is unrelated with your salary, unrelated with hierarchy, unrelated with anything like that. It's just your team providing honest feedback and constructive feedback to one another. The way that they do it, the amount of times that they do it, it's up to each team. Each team has responsibility, total responsibility, to build the environment that you want and like and love. You're in control of your own life and work. Okay. I was used to being on a car on the back seat, right? The CEO was driving, and on the front seat was the managers, and I was like, "Hey, can I go? Shh, shush, shush. We're driving, kid. Stay quiet. Do your job." And suddenly, I was kind of on driving a car, and it's like, okay, this is um, really unsettling and really cool at the same time. Um, so teams aren't also blocked by managers. We can communicate with the client. We take tech decisions. We help on the roadmap. We're responsible for things. So we're responsible for knowing that we probably shouldn't release something on a Friday because if it blows up on the weekend, we're responsible for taking care of that. But nobody is going to say that I can't release on a Friday, and I can. I just need to take responsibility if I do. Well, fast forward, it's 6 years have passed, okay, and moved through several different teams. Um, and during that time, a lot of cool things happened. First, we developed self-proposed salaries. So now each one at Mindera can propose their own salary. And the way that it is compared, since you don't have evaluation, is something that we call stacks. So stacks are basically a way that the team can provide, the team and everybody in the company can provide feedback over you. How much value do you bring to Mindera? That can be your personality, your tech savviness, the way that you help on interviews. Well, the way that each one thinks the value is um, can be calculated because it's a very broad word. Um, and it's working. We also implemented in some parts salary transparency for those who want to join in. So it's we're doing an experiment in Portugal that has reached around 1/3 of the company. So it's opt-in as salary transparency, and whoever joins can see other people's salaries. Rita,
There's a
I guess you
question
have a
here.
question for me.
Yeah, can I just show it to you also on stage? I think
Yeah,
it's relevant as well. Maybe you could address that. I would like to know what is the part of QA in the process. So,
yeah, sure. So we normally have several steps of QA. So let's do a practical example because it's always easier. Let's think about a mobile app. So the mobile app has developers and normally QAs, so people that know how to do automation testing. It can also have QAs, but it's more common to have only QAs. So we have unit tests being written by the people developing it, and then we have UI automated tests being written by the QAE. So basically, we try to do everything automated and within a pipeline. So at each time that we do that we push something into the repo, it gets into the pipeline. The pipeline compiles it, runs the unit tests, the UI tests. It runs in an actual device if you want, or an emulator. It goes through the entire user journey, and then it launches an alpha or a beta version, and then we can push it to production. So we're perfectly confident that everything that we push is tested and has our seal of approval. Let's say that.
all right, thank you.
Rita, more questions?
There was a raised hand here, but I think this person is no longer here. I was about to invite him on stage. Let me see. You can go on, Pedro. Just go on, please.
So one of the things that was cool, and to give you a sense of the level of freedom that you have within Mindera, is as I said, we have feedback over evaluation, and the way that we do feedback is each team defines their own process. They can ask for help, or they can define their own. So while I was working with a team for three or 4 years, I think, um, I felt that we needed to have like a very cool process that helped us be more honest with each other. I think the normally when you are happy to work with some people, even if they do something that you don't feel as right, you're a bit you don't want to mess the relationship. So we created a feedback session. That team created a feedback session where there were a bunch of questions, and it's a full methodology that then spread into even other companies, just from that simple team, and that's the level of autonomy that you have. One cool thing, so I have two other smaller stories to tell you about my experience. um, so normally, whenever we come to these events, we say the best, and yeah, it's all cool, there's nothing wrong with the company. So I want to tell you one of the hardest parts that I had at Mindera. So I joined a team that was being a bit bashed by the client. They were saying that we're not performing, we're not delivering on time, we're delivering with a lot of bugs and so on. We're not perfect, by the way. Um, some people will say that, and it's true. So what happened is I joined the team to help with that process. So first to understand what was wrong, and after a few weeks, I understood that the thing wrong was we had a process, we had a Scrum with 2 weeks sprint and so on, but the client was asking for releases all the time. Okay, so mid sprint, adding a new feature, doing just that small tweak and so on. What I have seen on previous companies was you need to accommodate the client. The client is he's always right. You need to maintain the client happy. What I was seeing there is if we kept doing that, the team would implode. It's not only we could. So as I joined and other people joined, we raised the level of code quality, but it was taking a toll on us. So we're getting very tired by that continuous interruption. So at that point, after speaking with the founders and a couple of people, we decided to say no to the client. Okay, and say, okay, I need to tell you something. You're gonna hate now, but I'm saying I cannot do this. I will not do the release today. I will do it next week as we agreed. I know that you want it today. I won't do it. And if you go with me for 2 or 3 sprints following this, you'll see if I'm right or wrong. And at that point, if I'm wrong, I will leave. Okay. And Mindera knew that I was kind of risking the client. If I was wrong, the client would get really mad. What I was pretty confident was in my team and in our quality, and we endured. And after 2 months, the person that was always bashing us had a meeting with me saying, "Well, Pedro, you're right. I'm sorry. Let's do it your way. As of now, I will not interfere no longer." And this is I haven't seen that happen in another company. The risk that of not putting the client first to do the right thing and put people first. That's my first hard story. The second hard story. I have 3 kids. Okay, 7, 4, and 1 years old. Okay, the 1 year old was born exactly during the first lockdown last year during COVID. And we live in a small home. We're planning to move, but COVID is delaying this. So I was working with 3 kids at home. One of them was newborn. What I saw in so many friends of mine were they were getting burned out by handling all that, the family, the work, the demands. What I got from Mindera was one of the founders saying, if you can't work, just say, we'll keep paying your salary and take some time off for you and relax, and we'll speak later. And that's something that you don't see around. That's putting your money and your attitude where your mouth is. And that is what makes me come to this event and wear the shirt. Okay. This is Mindera. This is why we use technology to build products we are proud of with the people we love, because it's not just some words we say, it's true. Okay. Um, some other questions? I think you're muted, Rita.
I am talking to myself. I was mute. Thank you. Yeah, it's not the first time. It's not going to be the last. We had someone with a raised hand, but he did not come back. I really liked your story. Thanks for sharing it with us. It was, on one side, very interesting to hear about all the pizzas and snow trips and no limited holidays. But on the other side, responsibility and communication among team members. So I guess that's a bit the secret, right? People are responsible and we're all grown-ups. We trust each other. Great stories, Elizabeth is saying. So I like that. And also the part that you shared and this is tremendously important at the times we are living right now, right? That you struggled working from home. I'm yeah, laughing, but it's not laughable, right? You struggled. Many people struggled with kids at home, working in front of a computer, and how the company supported you in this. Is there anything they would like to add as a final thought? Anything to wrap this up?
Just saying, if so, we're hiring. We have more than 100 vacancies open. Okay, we're have vacancies for, I think, almost every tech that you can think of. So jump on our booth, ask around.
Right.
You can send me a message in anywhere, social networks here, whatever, and I would be happy if I see some of you at Mindera in some time.
There you go. You stole my quote. That's what I was going to say. Go and meet them at their booth, at the booth section, and don't be shy. Ask your questions and enjoy. Thank you again, Pedro. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And just stick around. We have more to come. Bye-bye.